You have reached Steele's Toy Collector Review. I'm your man, Steele, and today I'll be reviewing Transformers Retro Brawn. Transformers Retro Brawn. But before I get to the actual review, I just want to go over some of the old school details on this packaging. Up for here, typical blister showing you the figure and all the accessories inside. In the top corner, you have an 8+, which is an age requirement for this figure. Across the top, it says the Transformers more than meets the eye. Up here, you have Heroic Autobot, and below that, you have a vintage illustration of Brawn in this robot mode. And down here, you have an actual picture of the figure in its off-road SUV mode. Corner, you have old school Hasbro emblem. In front of the blister tray, it says Autobot Brawn. Back of the packaging here, on the very top again, it says the Transformers more than meets the eye. In the other corner here, it says it is a world of constant change where things are not what they seem. It is a world of the Transformers, a world of heroic Autobots and evil Decepticons. Middle here is beautiful battle scene of the Autobots battling Decepticons. Over here you have the more than meets the authentic logo. Next to it again you have that old school Hasbro emblem. And down here you have Brawn's tech spec that reads Autobot Brawn. Over here is his profile shot. Up here it says Function Demolition. Quote, might over microchips. Down here it says to Brawn, Earth is essentially a hostile environment and he loves it. Strong, rugged, agile. Sorry for those not as tough as himself. Next to that you have his coded tech specs. Transformers Retro G1 Autobot Brawn. Brawn was released October 1st, 2025 with the suggested retail price of $24.97 and is available exclusively at Walmart. Brawn was released along with the other Transformers Retro G1 figure, Sea-Spray. Brawn is a Generation 1 inspired figure that converts to his off-road SUV mode in 33 steps. His accessories include his blaster and instructions. Brawn stands 5 inches tall and he is meant for fans ages 8 and up. Now I'm going to go ahead and convert Brawn from his robot mode all the way to his off-road SUV mode. But the first thing you always want to do before you transform any Transformers, you want to remove all the weapons and accessories. I'll take this blaster here. We'll put this off to the side. So first step of the transformation, I want to turn Brawn all the way around. Look at this backpack right here. At the very top of his backpack, you have double jointed hinge joint right there. I'm going to take that backpack and simply lift it up just like that. Step number 2, for that double jointed hinge joint, you want to take that backpack and pull it all the way down just like that. This is step number 3. Then you want to take that backpack and bring it up just like that. So step number 4, you have a swivel joint right at the waist. You want to take this top portion now and rotate it all the way around just like this. So step number 5. You have this chest panel right here. On that chest panel, you have a hinge joint. We'll take that chest panel. We want to bring it out just like that. So step number 6, we'll take Brawn's head. We'll rotate it so the face is facing up just like that. So step number 7, you have that shoulder joint right there and right there. You got a hinge joint right there. You want to take that shoulder joint and swing the whole shoulder joint down just like that. Do that to you. So you get that orange shoulder joint right there. You want to take that shoulder, untab it, and flip it all the way down just like that. So step number 8, you want to take the arm now, right? The shoulder joint. You want to rotate the arm all the way down just like that. Do that to your side. Take that arm now and rotate it all the way down just like that. So step number 9, where the bicep meets the shoulder, you have a swivel joint. We'll take the forearm now, you want to rotate it in just like that. Do that to your side of that forearm and rotate it in just like that. So step number 10, on the forearm you have a hinge joint right there. We'll take the fist down, flip it right into the forearm just like that. Do that to your side, take that fist, the hinge joint, flip right into the forearm just like that. And step number 11, you want to turn Brawn all the way over. On his back where you have a hinge joint right there and right there. You want to take his arm now, you want to go and rotate it in just like that. Do that to your side, to that arm piece, rotate it right into the body just like that. So step number 12, in between the arms here, you have various tabs and portholes. I want to go and tab the arms together, just like that, and just like that. Step number 13. On Brawn's camping piece right here, in the middle here, you have a little swivel joint. With this camping piece right here, you want to flip it all the way around, just like that, so you see the little grill at the top of Brawn. So step number 14, you have this chest piece right here. You want to take this chest piece and push it in, just like that. Because step number 15, you have a hinge joint right there and right there. Take a leg piece with that hinge joint and bring it out just like that. Do that together, bring that leg piece and bring it out just like that. Step number 16, you have Brawn's toes and heels. You got a hinge joint right there and right there. You want to take that toe and that heel and bring them together just like that. Do that to the other side, to that toe and that heel and bring it together just like that. So step number 17, this inside leg piece right here, and you have a double jointed hinge joint right there. And once you take that inside leg piece, you want to flip it out and down just like that. Do that to the other side of that leg piece and flip it down and out just like that. So step number 18, let's go and just straighten everything out just like that and just like that. So step number 19, you want to turn Brawn all the way around. Back in the thigh here, you have this little tab. In front of the fist, you have a little porthole. You just push that in just like that and just like that. Step number 20, get that hinge joint right there and right there. Then we'll just simply swing the whole leg piece out just like that. Do that to your side of that leg piece out just like that. You want to make sure that fist stays in that thigh still. Step number 21, you want to complete that full rotation. You want to bring the leg all the way up. Make sure the foot and the heel go into the side and it tabs right into place in front just like that. Do that to the other side, bring that leg piece all the way in and tab it right into place just like that. So step number 22, get that backpack piece right here. I want to go and bring that backpack piece all the way down just like that. Because in the 23rd and final step, you have this panel back here, you have a hinge joint right there. I want to bring this back panel all the way down, and now you have Brawn in this full off-road SUV mode. Now that Brawn in this off-road SUV mode and on my display table, so I'm going to go over some of his play features and accessories. First, I talk about his blaster. According to the instructions, we're going to arm Brawn with this blaster while he's in his vehicle mode. This with Brawn's blasters are actually a 5mm peg. You turn Brawn over, on top of his roof, he has a spare tire. In the middle of that spare tire, he has a 5mm porthole. We'll take that blaster now and plug it right into that spare tire, just like that. And now you have Brawn armed while he's in this off-road SUV mode. Very, very cool play feature, but personally I'm not a big fan of arming my Transformers while they're in their alt mode. And if you're wondering what an alt mode is, an alt mode is anything that's not the robot mode. So it's a vehicle mode, an animal mode, in this case it's an off-road SUV mode. So I'm going to go ahead and take the blaster and put it off to the side. So I'm going to talk about Brawn. And this specific version of Brawn is based on a Generation 1 toy, which is really cool because the paint scheme matches it. Because in the Generation 1 toy, which unfortunately I could not find, so I can't do a side-by-side comparison, but he does have this dark green color scheme for the Jeep, and he has the black windows, which is really, really cool. And he has that super deformed look where he does look like a Jeep, but he has that bulky look to it. Very nice mold. A lot of great detail here. You get some nice paint gecko detail for the grill here. It's like a silver metallic paint. If you shine to certain angles of light, you get that dull luster. You get that little black piece right here, which is also in a design feature that was carried over from the original Generation 1 toy. It was black and had the Autobot symbol. Very, very nicely done. You get the wheels that roll here. But I don't really recommend rolling this figure on any abrasive surfaces because you get the body cavity down here that does hang really low. And you do risk causing some scratches on the bottom of the body here, which is something you don't really want, especially since this piece of Brawn is his chest piece right here, and this is a paint detail. So if you are to scratch this up, you'll kind of unsurface some green plastic behind it, which wouldn't be cool for your figure, especially at this price point. And the rarity of this figure is exclusive to Walmart, and it's only going on a limited run, so you won't really see this figure back on shelves. And it's really cool because it is based on the actual Generation 1 toy. I'm going to rotate him around so you can see what it looks like from all angles, but he's a very cool figure. And I do have my other Studio Series version of Brawn to a side-by-side comparison. And as you can see, the color scheme's slightly different. And in vehicle mode, he's just a redeco of the Studio Series version of Brawn. In this version of Brawn, they went ahead and they did something different with the Studio Series. They went in a different direction. They went ahead and painted the window a light blue paint detail because previous Studio Series figures, they did give it a translucent window, They left this window out for some reason. I'm not sure why they didn't paint this window in, but it's very cool detail. And it's got a lighter green, so I believe this is more to match the animated model from the Generation 1 cartoon series and Transformers movie, so that's why the color scheme is a little bit different. But other than that, they're pretty much the same figure in Jeep mode. There is a slight difference in robot mode, but I'll get into that when I get into that part of the review. But I do have the I don't know if you want to call this the dead Brawn or the battle damaged Brawn, because you get that little shot right there they took. But between the two Studio Series figures, they're almost identical, and there's a slight color variation between the Studio Series and the battle damaged one, where you can see the battle damaged one is slightly lighter in color. But you can see that the design for these two figures are more based on the animated model from the Generation 1 cartoon series and Transformers the movie, as opposed to this one right here, which they kind of want to go strictly off the toy, which I thought was really cool, because like I said, they painted this piece black, where the animated model more had it match the actual color scheme of the rest of the Jeep, which is really, really nicely done. But I have to say, this Brawn, and this mold is fantastic. I really do enjoy this mold for Brawn. It's probably my definitive Brawn. I'm going to display this Studio Series Brawn as my definitive Brawn. I do really enjoy this gimmick they did with the retro figures. I'm going to go and take my Studio Series Brawns and put them off to the side. So I'm going to go and talk about this Brawn. And I really do enjoy the fact that they're putting these on some retro card backs, just like they did with the G.I. Joe Classified series figures. It's very, very nicely done. I love the throwback with head sculpt, which you're going to see in a moment. But this figure is really, really nicely done, and I do enjoy the paint scheme, and I think they're just adorable. And just a little bonus for us collectors. I'm going to go rotate this around so you can see this from all angles. I would advise picking these figures up. I mean, Sea Spray, Bumblebee, Gears, they've all been fantastic figures. And they look brilliant on those little card backs, especially when they have that strong retro look to them. Now that Brawn in his robot mode and on my display table, I once again want to go over some of his plate features and accessories. First of all, I talk about his blaster. According to the instructions, there will arm Brawn with this blaster while he's in his robot mode. As supposed to handle the blaster here, it's actually a 5mm peg. Each one of his fists has a 5mm porthole. You see that blaster and plug either one of his fists, just like that, and now you have Brawn armed with his blaster. And I have to say, this Brawn is very, very charming. I really do enjoy it because it does really remind me of the Generation 1 toy. I mean, they went ahead and matched the color scheme where they gave that darker green with the orange here, and even remolded the head right here to look more like a Generation 1 toy. The Generation 1 toy's head was molded to the canopy, so it was one piece. It was very cool that they just did a separate head sculpt. And is it just me, or is this figure very reminiscent of the Masters of the Universe Man-at-Arms? I wish when they did the crossover they could have done it with Brawn instead of Bumblebee, because to me Man-at-Arms and Brawn look very similar. I mean, they have the same color scheme, even have similar helmets. But this figure is very, very cool. I mean, even with the metallic arm right here, which the figure had like a door flap here where it had little hooks for arms, but they did their best. I mean, like I said, it's just a fun figure that they figured they could go ahead and try this series where the retro figures were more based on the Generation 1 toy, which I think they did a good job with, especially with the mini-bots so far. I mean, done it with Gears, they've done it with Sea Spray. With Bumblebee, they could have done a different head sculpt with that version of Bumblebee, but it was still cool to have that version of Bumblebee available again on, you know, through Walmart, because that Bumblebee, that was the Volkswagen, straight up Volkswagen, was only available through the Netflix series, and for them to bring out the figure again for the retro was really, really cool. I think it was re-released too later on, because on later waves I saw more Bumblebees appear on pegs again, so I'm not sure if they released that along with Sea Spray and replaced Brawn, because I'm not really seeing Brawn in any shipments lately. But this figure is really, really cool, and I do have my Studio Series figure. Do a side-by-side comparison. And like I mentioned earlier on, this version of Brawn, the retro version, is more based on the color scheme from the Generation 1 toy and the head sculpt too. Well, this one right here, the Studio Series, is based on the animated model from the Generation 1 cartoon series and Transformers the movie. That's why you get the more olive green here. You get the orange still, and you get the head sculpt here, and it's just so nicely detailed. This is the definitive Brawn. Very nicely done figure. And I did not know how they were going to pull it off, making them so cartoon accurate, and they did that with these Studio Series figures. And it's just fun what they did with the retro figures, just making them more like the Generation 1 toy. But as you can see, they have side by side, there's some slight retooling. There's retooling in the head right here. and the color scheme is just a little different. That's it pretty much between these two figures. Even the blasters, they use the same color scheme for the blasters. But I know with this version of Brawn, the one that gets killed during the movie, where you have that battle damage detail right here, where it is a retooling of the Studio Series Brawn, where you get the battle damage right here, and the head sculpt's a little different where his mouth's opening, but he's kind of, you know, registering the pain that he got through the chest of this blast right here. But as you can see, for some reason with this version of Brawn, and I'm sure it might be a cost-cutting measure, the face is painted a silver paint instead of that metallic paint. Same for the forearms right here, and same for the kneecaps. So you don't really get a lot of that metallic except for the grill with this figure. If I want to go plug that battle damage back in. But for some reason with this figure, they gave it a silver blaster, and I think that's what the color of the blaster was in the movie. So I'm not sure why this Brawn did not come with this blaster, which would make it a perfect version of Brawn, because I believe in the animated series in Transformers the movie, his blaster was silver. But for some reason it carried over to the toy design when it came to the retro figure. But since the review is not really about the Studio Series figures, I'm going to put these off. Well, actually, you know what? I'm going to rotate around so you can see all the similarities and differences on your own. Other than the head sculpt, the molding is all the same. All three molds are the same except for the head sculpt. The color scheme with the retro figure is more based, like I said earlier on, based on the toy, as opposed to the Studio Series versions were based on the animated model from Generation 1 cartoon series and Transformers the movie. And for some reason, this one right here is kind of wobbling a lot. Let me fix his feet a little bit, and now he's not going to be wobbling. But all three figures are fantastic. My favorite out of the three, I don't know, I really do like the retro figure. It's a cool figure, but I'm a Generation 1 kid and I grew up with the toys, and it's so cool that they had a figure that's so close to the toy, but it's perfect, like perfect hybrid between the Generation 1 animated model and the Generation 1 toy. I'm gonna go put these off to the side. But I do want to talk about Brawn. This Brawn is fantastic. And he's still available. You can still find him on my shelves, because like I said earlier on, I do believe that the later waves did take him out, but he wasn't moving as fast because they produced so many of these, and they are on clearance right now at Walmart. So I'd recommend going out to Walmart right now and getting one, because I think they're around $7 right now. They're at a really good price. But he has lots of points of articulation. You have knee articulation, you have toe and heel articulation, hip, you have thigh swivel right here. You have bicep articulation, you have bicep swivel right here, you have shoulder articulation, you have very, very limited fist articulation, which goes in and out, and you have head articulation. And actually you have waist articulation too. There's lots of points of articulation. This figure is just great, and I just, as a Generation 1 kid, I never would have fathomed that they were going to able to produce a figure that was so cartoon accurate, and even points of articulation is nice, because as many of you know, Generation 1 toys have very limited articulation, or pretty much just bricks. And you're meant to buy them as a 2-for-1 deal, where you got a robot and a vehicle. And the vehicle mode, we're always great with Generation 1, but now with the Generation 1 toy line, which incorporates, you know, the War for Cybertron Legacy, the Age of the Prime, Studio Series, this made it so there's so many points of articulation that you can enjoy the figure in both modes. But if you found any of the information in this review valuable, please like and share this video. Also, if you really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel, and while you're there, click the bell to be notified of any future videos. I want to thank you guys for watching Red Seal's Toy Collector Review. I'll check you guys out next time.